Hello Pisces, welcome to your weekly horoscope. This is for Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising and progressed, okay? Don't forget progressed. So my loves, let's hop into it. Wowzers. You guys are having this beautiful Venus Sun Cazimi in your 4th house, which is so beautiful because you guys are really... This is so Pisces. You guys are expanding into your emotional awareness like never before. And it's probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable because you do have this lovely little trine to the south node that's in your 8th house. And we've got Lilith there. So there is a lot about your fucking shadows coming up, Pisces. Your shadows are propelling your emotions big time at the moment. Your shadows they've got a lot to say. It really is a time for you to be discerning about what's coming up for you, not getting so taken down the rabbit hole of like, holy hell, like there is so much emotion here. You know, it feels like the 8th house is a little bit difficult, especially when we have Lilith that's there and the south node at the moment. The 8th house is kind of like where we don't want to look. So this is not really a week for you to go down the rabbit hole of like, this is wrong and like just this. Don't lose yourself in an emotional whirlwind because it feels like the potential is there this week with Lilith being in your 8th house and the south node. We have moderation coming out with the rhinoceros. So it's definitely a time to be moderate in your, in your emotions. We have fear coming out. So there's definitely fears, and that makes a lot of sense with this 8th house and Lilith and the south node. And like, I haven't really jumped straight into this south node thing with any other sign. So for you guys, it's feeling like this is very prominent because it's going to be having you, in a little bit of fear. It's going to be having you waking up to it, some of these fears, especially because you have 12th house trine with Pluto over here to the 4th house, Jupiter in Gemini. That's very much thoughts and anxiety of the mind, big time. You've just had Pluto move into your 12th house. So for you guys, your mental health is everything. It's extremely important for your mental health at the moment for you to be not going so far down the rabbit hole at the moment into your skeletons in the closet. And I've talked about the skeletons in the closet a bit throughout this reading, but for you guys, it is not a week to really become, to not go so deep and dark and all that sort of stuff. It's a week for you guys to sort of, I just heard, always look on the bright side of life. So I don't know, maybe you guys need to watch some Monty Python. Or just something like silly, but it feels like moderation for sure because the fear is coming up. So how can you moderate yourself in that fear? How can you start to take care of yourself even though it feels like maybe everything is burning all around you? Because, the world is in a very chaotic place, and you Pisces are very empathetic. You feel everything, you feel it all, as well as with Gemini on the 4th house. You guys are very aware, very clued in, very awake to some of the bullshit that we're seeing just playing out collectively, and that's having it's taking its toll on you, I think, emotionally. And so with this North Node sextile between the Sun and Venus Cazimi and the North Node in Aries, it is a time for you to be focusing on stability because the 2nd house, the North Node in your 2nd house, but Chiron's there as well. So there is this feeling of not feeling quite stable, but also still needing to focus on what it is that you can build and not getting so lost up in what everyone else is doing, especially with Libra, South Node, 8th house. This is not being so worked up about what your partner's doing, even about what people, like business partners even. This could be like being just obsessed with others, being obsessed with like, does this person like me? Does this person think that I'm saying too much? Or, all this sort of stuff. With North Node Aries in the 2nd house, this is you needing to speak your truth. This is you needing to speak up about things that feel right for you to speak up about, especially with the 4th house, Gemini, Venus, Cazimi, hitting North Node 2nd house. It really is about you learning to speak your emotions clearly. I feel like you guys speaking your emotions and bringing them out in a clear way that, whether it's writing something or it's just publicly speaking something or just talking with people, this is definitely a week where it's like going to bring you a lot of healing to sort of explain yourself in a little bit of like a weird way, to explain maybe your motives, to explain why you feel certain things, why you're feeling certain ways. All of this Gemini in the 4th house for you, it feels like as much as you know what's going on, like because you're seeing it in front of you, there is an intuitive knowing about how the world is at the moment that I feel like could actually really have you in some fear. You know, and like I was saying to Sagittarius earlier, I just finished making a post before I started filming these readings this morning about the potential possibility of drafts and conscriptions, you know, in Western countries, in Australia, in America, in the UK, in Europe, all that sort of shit. So if you're in a Western country, you ain't as safe as you think you are. And so this fear is coming up, and especially for Pisces, because we know, we can feel it. We got Pluto in our 12th house. We can feel it. It's trining our 4th. We can feel it. We know that something's coming. And if you're a Pisces, comment down below and let me know. You know that something's coming, don't you? And you know it's dark. You know it's dark. You can feel it. And so that fear has a possibility that it could fester. It has a possibility that it could start to take you over and sort of, you know, with Lilith in the 8th, start to control you. Don't be moving from fear. It's okay to feel the fear. The fear is there, and we can't deny, you know, true, real experience. You can't deny the reality of the fear that you're feeling, because it's a genuine fear. You're allowed to have it, you know. But it's a survival fear too, because the 8th house and the 2nd house, it's survival. So we are dealing with survival, and there is probably this knowing within you, Pisces, that things don't feel right. And so you've really got to learn to work with that and to deal with that and to not lose yourself in the fear over it. That's the biggest thing I think that this South Node potentially has for you this week, is really becoming overwhelmed with fear. And I will not I will say, because I'm a Pisces sun, so I have definitely been feeling that fearful energy for sure, especially because, you know, I've said to you guys, my teacher is David Palmer, the Leo King. I am obsessed with everything that all of his teachings, all of his astrology schools, they are fucking amazing. And he runs High Vibe, spiritual network, right? And he has a show on there called Full Disclosure that he does with Natalie Sadie, and it's an amazing show. Those people are so just fucking real. I love them. And he's been talking about this conscription thing, and it's getting realer, and it's getting realer, and it's been getting realer. And I found that since listening to that talk and the reality of that actually starting to set into my bones has been really hard, really scary, really uncomfortable, because I'm in the generation that it's going to happen to. So, you know, I'm okay with the fact that I am fucking feeling scared. I really am. I'm really uncomfortable about it. I'm not happy about it, especially because everyone I know, everyone I love, my brothers, me, we are Pluto Sagittariuses. We are the ones who will be fucking put in the fire. So, not to scare you, not to make this worse, but to give you guys an example of just how much you could go down the rabbit hole. There is a part of me that wants to freak the fuck out and just run off into the bush right now. But I know that I can't, because that's not where we're at. You know, Gemini in the 4th house is saying, can I communicate this fear? Can I speak about this fear? Can maybe I start helping and guiding others through this, because it's only going to be getting more intense. You know, you're going to have Pluto moving back into your 11th house, Pisces. So there is like this like holy fuck moment that's coming with the collective in you, where you're needing to like become, I just heard the whistleblower. Oh, Pisces. Oh, Pisces. When the fucking whistleblowers. It's shit. It's shit because no one wants to fucking believe in the whistleblower. But it's true. Look, we have change coming out with Chameleon. So I feel like you guys are just so aware of the changes, and that's like a little bit freaky, if I'm perfectly honest. It's uncomfortable. But it's also an advantage. So don't forget that you guys have an advantage, because you are so psychic, King of Cups. That's right. Knowing things beforehand, knowing that life and the world is as hectic as it is, kind of gives you an advantage in knowing how to actually deal with it. And that's very much this 4th house. Having Jupiter there, having Venus and Mercury and the Sun, especially making her Cazimi in your 4th house, is really saying that like your best asset is emotional regulation. Your best asset is being so, you know, emotionally, being in emotional mastery. Mastering your emotions and not allowing yourself to lose yourself in fear. If you start to feel all the fear coming up, what can you do? You know, do you need to put on a movie or something? Do you need to go for a run? Especially with all this in the second house, maybe, you know, something that could really help you guys to calm down would be exercising, would be having, you know, moments where you're actually connecting in with your physical body and you're moving your body, because with Chiron being there and Mars is coming to the end of being in your second house. So there has been this real push towards getting this body active and getting this body going, and, you know, keep moving with it, keep rolling with it, because activity is really going to help you ground some of this fear out. We also have the 5 of coins coming up. So there's definitely money stuff, financial stuff, survival things, feeling left out in the cold, feeling left out in general, just feeling all this like discomfort sort of energy. It's not really going to be the easiest week for you, if I'm totally honest, Pisces. It feels like it's a little bit tougher than you for you than some other signs, but that's almost because you know too much. It's because you're so aware, and with all of that in the 8th house, it's like you're aware of the darkness that's around and the darkness that's coming. We have the goddess archetype coming out. It says the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. The shadow attribute is the exploitation of the female nature and form. So that's the thing. Exploitation of the female nature. Female nature is intuitive. It knows. So, you know, don't use your intuition as something to fuck yourself over with by being scared. Don't be scared, you know, of the power that you actually have in your psychic awareness. Use it. You know, with this King of Cups, use it. Use the power of your discernment, especially with having Saturn in your motherfucking sign. Your discernment powers are higher than they've ever been. We have Femme Fatale and Don Juan coming out. So, you know, you guys are actually needing to sort of like... Look, let me read this first before I say anything else. Light attribute spotlights your positive seductive qualities. Shadow attribute is using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. And that could be very Lilith, South Node, Libra, 8th. Femme Fatale highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. Shadow attributes is inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. So that's the thing. The fear comes through attachment. I think the more that you're attached to a lifestyle, or like, you know, just attached to needing to have a certain amount of money in the bank, needing to have certain resources, all that sort of stuff, the more you guys become attached to this, even this wounded aspect of you with this 8th house, your shadows, you know, that's going to really keep you feeling in an energy of fear. And that's not where we want to be at the moment, Pisces. I nearly just said Sagittarius. The light attributes of the wounded child is awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. Shadow attributes is blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. So, there is really kind of this energy of restructuring yourself and no longer acting as the wounded child. You know, the 8th house is where our shadows are, and so they're very activated and sort of noticeable for you at the moment, emotionally in particular. It feels like the environment that you're in really has the power to help heal you or to hinder you. It's up to you how you're sort of going to move in this energy, because a lot of it is coming down to the way you're treating your own, you know, feminine side, your own feminine energy, which is the energy of being in flow. Masculine energy is energy that can control and dominate and do, it's action. Feminine energy is being in the flow. That's what's feeling so uncomfortable at the moment, is the fact that there's not really much you can physically do about what is going on in the world. All you can do is control your own actions. All you can do is, you know, try and focus on love, try and focus on healing, and try and focus on, you know, feminine. What is feminine healing? I suppose feminine healing is when we're actually allowing ourselves to flow and to not push so hard, and to, you know, even with Jupiter being in the 4th house, it's now a time for you to start chilling a little bit more and to be okay with, you know, nurturing your emotions more than letting them overwhelm you and overtake you. You know, this is kind of giving me this energy of like feeling like you're always needing to build and create and push, which is totally fine. You do sort of need to build and create at the moment, which is the 2nd house. But it's almost like, don't be pushing so hard to the point where you drain yourself and then you start to get emotionally reactive, and then you start to feel like nothing that you do is enough, you know? It's kind of like, the thing with Pisces is it can feel like it has a chip on its shoulder, especially with Saturn in Pisces. So Pisces could be feeling at the moment like they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, like it's a little bit like, meh, oh, it feels like everyone else is getting a better go than me, you know, that kind of typical Pisces stuff. And so, sorry Pisces, my camera is done for the day. It cannot do anymore. I've got like a minute left of fucking recording on there, so we're just gonna end this reading here. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I'm gonna be more organized next week when I get this shit going, but this was a practice run and it was fucking really hard, way harder than I thought it would be. Just with the technological aspect of it, the readings are actually fun and great, but everything else is really difficult. So anyway, Pisces, I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out your channeled song, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.